and welcome to Farm to Classroom. Have you ever asked a child where their food comes from? You may hear answers like the grocery store or chocolate milk comes from a brown cow. In the past, people would grow their own food in order to survive. Therefore, families and children were exposed to how the food we eat grows at an early age. Now, all types of food are easy to come by at grocery stores, and doing agriculture at home is not a necessity to life. What we don't realize or sometimes take for granted is that agriculture is a big part of everyday lives. It also means the food we find on our plate, in our grocery store, and even the clothing on our backs was grown or tended to by a farmer. Some children never get the opportunity to truly see and understand where their food comes from firsthand. Research shows that knowing where your food comes from can be the first step to developing healthy eating habits and better attitudes towards food. In this lesson, you will be provided with information on Arkansas agriculture and strategies for teaching about farm to table in your classroom. So the objectives for this lesson are: participants will gain a better understanding of what is considered farm to classroom. Participants will learn about how farm to classroom activities can benefit their children. Participants will learn about the different strategies for teaching farm-related information to children. And participants will be given ideas on how to get a farm-to-classroom program started in their school or facility. So when I say the word farm, what typically comes to mind? Did you see a tractor or maybe a barn out in a field somewhere? Technology advances have really changed and continue to change the way farming looks. Did you know that some farmers are even using drones, GPS sensors, and robotic systems on their farms? Farmers are using technology like this to help make it safer, more efficient, and environmentally friendly, according to the National Institute of Food and Agriculture. Don't forget those tractors and red barns that you may have pictured. They are still around, but they may have had some updates. So there is a short video here that I encourage you to watch that references some of agriculture practices that have advanced. All right, so in 2006, 41% of Arkansas land was comprised of farms. 64% of those farms are organically certified farms. And Arkansas agriculture contributes to 264,215 jobs. So here are some facts as of 2020. 97% of Arkansas farms are family owned. So that means that 49,346 farms are family owned. Agriculture in Arkansas's largest industry, adding around $16 billion to the state's economy each year. Arkansas ranks third in cotton production, with around 7% of the U.S. crop. 14.5 million acres of Arkansas land resources consist of workable farmland. And Arkansas ranks first in the nation in rice production. And Arkansas has 18,778,660 acres of forest land. Isn't that amazing that in Arkansas we have all of that right there? So, how does your favorite fruits and vegetables grow? Does it grow on trees? And that can be mangoes, oranges, peaches, avocados, and pears. Does it grow from a plant or bush? That's your blueberries, green beans, peppers, and pineapples. What about, does it grow below ground? That's going to be your carrots, potatoes, beets, and onions. And then, does it grow sitting on top of the ground? That's going to be your watermelon, your broccoli, your lettuce, and your pumpkins. And also let's think about an acre of land. So you've heard the word acre when referring to agriculture. An acre is defined as a unit of land area equal to 43,560 square feet. So think about that. 1 acre of land can produce 821 pounds of cotton, which grows above the ground, 2,784 pounds of wheat, and then 50,000 strawberries. If you're interested in growing some of these things that are mentioned on this slide, there is a locally grown produce calendar because things grow in different seasons. So do you know your row crops? Take a couple of seconds to see if you can identify what is being harvested in each picture. So you click on, this is rice. Rice production reportedly began in Arkansas in 1902. However, some historical records suggest that rice was grown in some parts of Arkansas prior to the Civil War. There are 3 types of rice. You have long, medium, and short grain. Rice is also processed to be brown, regular milled, or parboiled. So we're going to click on this one. This one is wheat. Wheat in Arkansas is planted in October through November and harvested in early June. A type of wheat that Arkansas produces is soft red winter wheat. So that's SRW. This type of wheat is used in a wide range of confectionery products like cookies, crackers, and cakes, and for baguettes as well as other bread products. So what's this one right here? Corn. Types of corn grown are sweet and field corn. Sweet corn is typically what we eat. Field corn is used in cornmeal, corn chips, and livestock feed. Sweet corn is not as tall, and the leaves are thinner, whereas field corn is taller and has large, thick leaves. All right, this next one here is cotton. Cotton is used in a lot of fabrics, but it also has many other uses. The seeds are used in cottonseed oil and animal feed, and the dried remains of the plant can be used to make high-tech packaging. Cotton picking machines have spindles that twist the seed cotton from the burrs that are attached to the plant stems. Soybeans. That's what soybeans look like. I'm trying to maneuver my mouse to get over here where I can read. So soybeans. Soybean production originated in China. Soybeans were brought to the United States around the early 1900s, first as a forage crop. Soybean was first introduced into Arkansas in 1925. Soybean is found in foods like soy milk, soy sauce, miso, which is soybean paste, and tofu. Soy is also added to breads, cereals, and meat products and used as a meat substitute in vegetarian products. And let's not forget about animal agriculture. Animal agriculture includes the production and processing of poultry, including broilers, turkeys, and chicken eggs, beef and dairy products, sheep and goats, swine, and other animals. If you ever wonder more about how your food is grown in the process of going from farm to table, I recommend you take time to research and visit with your local farmers. So what is farm to classroom? Farm to classroom means just that. It's where teachers and schools work to find ways to bring the farm into their classroom. The goal should be to expose children to how the food we eat grows and gets from the farm or garden to the table. According to the National Farm to School Network, a farm to school program is not going to be the same in every school, but it should include one or more of the following core elements. Education, which means students are asked to participate in educational activities related to agriculture, food, health, and nutrition. School gardens, which allows students to engage in hands-on experiential learning through gardening. And then procurement, which means local foods are purchased, promoted, and served in the cafeteria as a snack or in the classroom as taste tests. So here's a video that you can view about the Farm to School Network, National Farm to School Network. So if you want to click on that, it'll also be listed as an additional resource in the lesson resources section. So according to the USDA Farm to School Census, 22% of Arkansas schools participate in a farm to school program. Farm to school programs are shown to impact student overall health and achievement. According to the National Farm to School Network, students who participated in a farm to school program demonstrated willingness to try new foods and healthier options. Farmers. Farm to School supports farming families by increasing marketing opportunities. Farm to School programs can open up the expansive school fund market to local farmers. Community and economy. Farm to School programs have increased community awareness and interest about purchasing local foods. Teachers. Farm to School programs can also create positive changes in teachers' diets and lifestyles. And then parents. Farm to School programs can increase interest in utilizing healthier foods in family diets and helps families to make healthier choices when shopping. So farm to classroom and child development. So when you think about sensory development, children can use their senses when touching, smelling, and tasting the food. Language and literacy development. Children can use their language when describing the food. You can also expose them to new words by labeling the things in your garden. Physical development. Children can get physical development by being outside working in the garden and bending over to touch plants, to also pull any weeds that might be there. Social skills and teamwork. Children can cultivate social skills and teamwork when they work together to do various tasks. As the teacher, you can encourage teamwork by asking children questions and giving them a chance to work together to figure out the answer. Science and math concepts. Children can learn science and math concepts by observing a plant's life cycle, helping count out seeds, and by measuring the plants throughout the different stages. Children can experience art and use their imagination by using different parts of the plants instead of using paintbrushes, doing a leaf rubbing activity, and lastly by asking children to draw what they see outside. So getting your farm to classroom program started. Here are some steps for getting a farm to classroom school program started. According to the National Farm to School Network, step 1 would be assess where you are and where you'd like to be. What are your goals? Is it procurement of local foods? Is it starting a school garden? Is it integrating farm to school curriculum? Or all of the above? So once you've step 1, you go to step 2. Form a team and collaborate. Your team could include your school food service staff, teachers, administrators, local farmers, students, parents, local county extension agents, health department, DHS, community leaders, school board members, and lastly, community organizations. Each of these people have an important role in establishing a sustainable farm to school program. The third step would be establish 1 or 2 attainable goals to get started. Some ideas could include identify menu items to connect you to local items, plan a local meal event, determine trading needs to assist food service staff with incorporating fresh farm items in meals, bring a school garden planning team together, plan a farm field trip or host a tasting event featuring local produce, try bringing in a farm to school curriculum into your classroom at least once a year. Step 4, learn from others. If you're running into an obstacle, there is someone out there who has run into it before. Some places to connect and learn from other farmers or from others include the National Farm to School Network, USDA Farm to School, your state's School Nutrition Association, connect with the Child Nutrition Program at your state agency. That's going to be through the Department of Education or the Department of Agriculture. Check with your local University of Arkansas Cooperative Extension Service, local school districts and teachers who have started a farm to school program. And the last step would be promote. Promote farm to school in your school and community. Using bulletin boards throughout the school, if there's a newsletter, print or electronic, any school events, and then local media. So for the rest of this lesson, I will go over some strategies for how you can bring the farm into your classroom. So there are different types of gardening. You can always choose to do a big garden, but if size is limited, here are some other types of gardening that you can use in your school. Container gardening. There are many different options for doing container gardening. One option is, found the container gardening, is to use what is called a root viewer. This would allow children their opportunity to see how the plant looks below the soil. Another container gardening option are earth boxes. These are self-contained plastic growing units with a water reservoir beneath the soil. Watering is done through a tube that goes through the soil into the reservoir. The last container garden option is the Smart Pot, which is a soft-sided fabric container that has rigidity and holds its shape. They are available in a variety of sizes. These, like the earth box, can be placed on concrete. Grow it in a jar, like the happy sweet potatoes pictured. This could show you the starting process of plant growth. Once the plant gets bigger, you could transplant it into a bigger pot. If you would rather have a bigger community type garden, consider using a vacant lot in your community. You'll also notice that one of those is a container garden. So here are some general gardening tips. Plan and form a garden committee. That's the first step really towards being successful, is planning. Forming a garden committee that discusses who is responsible for the various tasks, how the garden will fulfill needs or objectives for all those involved. Finding a location and determining the size of the garden. The site chosen should be one that has at least 6 to 8 hours of sun daily. Most vegetables that are grown needs to be full sun for best growth. Access to water is necessary, so having the janitor check that outside faucets are in working order is important. Next on the list is having the soil tested in the site chosen. The soil test will let you know what nutrients need to be improved in the soil. Loose, fertile, well-drained soil will help make the gardening experience better. You can have your local county extension service test your soil for free. Contact your local ag agent to find out how you need to properly get the soil, the amount, and what information they need for when they send the box off. Please allow enough time for you to fix any issues with the soil before you begin planting. Next is deciding what to plant. Getting the garden planted in early April may allow some harvest before the school year ends. Growing plants that mature quickly, such as lettuce, radishes, sunflower, spinach, bush beans, and zucchini would be a great place to begin. Maintaining the garden is the next step. Many tasks and learning experiences can happen during this time. The garden will need to be weeded, watered, and monitored for harvesting. These can make great topics of discussion or journaling for classroom students. You will need to figure out a schedule for weekends and school breaks. Keep the garden year-round. Scheduling summer tasks is the next item on your committee's list of items to complete. And this is, I think, very important. Be sure to enjoy the products of the garden. It is important to harvest and eat the food that is grown. Having a salad party or other recipes using vegetables will help the students enjoy their efforts. Also, if you don't plan to use all of the fruits and vegetables, maybe set up a market to where parents can buy some of the produce. Finally, start small, and keeping the garden simple will lead to success, and a sense of ownership in how to sustain the garden even when school is not in session is important. There are many great resources that exist to assist the committee, such as books, websites, and your local county extension office. So here are some indoor garden tips. According to an extension.org article, here are some tips to consider for your indoor garden. Use small containers to start with and find a location with plenty of sunlight. To save money on seeds, try ordering from a major mail order company that sells seeds in large containers rather than in packets. Some seed companies are willing to discount or donate last year's seeds if you call and ask. Any containers can be used to grow a plant if it can hold soil, drain water, and is large enough to support a plant. Pots, window boxes, and even shoes can be used in an indoor garden. This allows students to be creative and make predictions of growth on different plants. Grow edible fruits and vegetables in the classroom and have students taste test different parts of the plants that they may not have tried before. This activity can increase students' awareness of nutritious foods and food sources. Windowsill gardens can support beets, collards, carrots, lettuce, Swiss chard, turnips, and herbs. If your indoor garden has a grow light, it can support even more fruits and vegetables. If you have multiple classrooms interested in the project and only limited space or limited sunlight from the window, make your garden mobile. A wagon, utility cart, or even a grocery cart can be made into a mobile garden and transported to multiple classrooms or positioned in different parts of the school to get optimal sunlight. Posting a short blurb in your school newsletter or local garden clubs requesting help for seed, asking for materials, donations, or someone to help them build a garden cart will always bring results. So, not sure if you're ready to start real gardening in your classroom just yet? Have you thought about trying out some pretend gardening? Whether it's a garden sensory bin or a felt garden wall, there are plenty of ways that you could introduce gardening concepts to children without having to break out real plants, dirt, and a garden tool. Pinterest and other various blogs are filled with different ways that you can have a pretend garden. Some ideas for your fruits and vegetable in the pretend garden could be painting rocks, using plastic fruits and veggies, making bean bags shaped like fruits and veggies, or laminating pictures and putting them on sticks. You can also have a garden wall or bulletin board where they can plant the fruits and veggies. You can also create pockets for the veggies that grow below ground. Another neat idea is to cut up pool noodles to use as garden rows in your garden bin. So there is a video here about a do-it-yourself felt veggie garden. And the references will be listed in the slide below and also on the resources website or resources site in the course. So children can help you tend to the school garden. I know that it can be a little overwhelming having groups of children out in the garden at any age. Be prepared to provide instructions multiple times just like you would with any task. You can base the level of difficulty on the age and stage of the child. Be sure to try the task out first to prepare for any questions. If the class size worries you, try to find volunteers to help or use small groups to visit the garden. Some ideas of things that children can help with are watering the plants. You want to be sure to check out the dollar store in the spring or summer for some cute, small water pitchers. Digging a hole for the plants or seeds. Placing seeds in the soil. And then helping with picking some of the fruits and vegetables. Some plants may be rough or prickly when picking, so identify which ones are the easiest for them to pick and consider kid gardening. If you're prepared for your garden days, have good supervision, enough help, and provide instructions, you most certainly will have fun. So here are some gardening programs. You have Kids Gardening. It's a national nonprofit that strives to improve nutritional attitudes, educational outcomes, social and emotional learning, and environmental stewardship in youth across the country through garden-based learning. Kids Gardening is a great resource for garden-based educators across the country. They offer grant funding, curriculum, lesson plans, and inspiration to get more kids learning through the garden. Then you also have the Junior Master Gardener Program, which is JMG. This program offers curriculum which covers a broad range of horticulture and environmental education topics. Science process skills, observation, taking measurements, and problem solving are naturally integrated into the curriculum through both group and individual learning experiences. All JMG curriculum is correlated to academic standards for science, math, language arts, and social studies. So some of the curriculum mentioned in this lesson are available only to schools, child care providers, after-school and summer meal programs participating in one of the USDA's child nutrition programs. This can include the National School Lunch Program, the School Breakfast Program, Child and Adult Care Food Program, Summer Food Service Program, Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program, and then the Special Milk Program. For more information on these programs and to see if you qualify, please click on the USDA logo or contact your local DHS. Some of the curriculum may also be available through the Cooperative Extension Service. This may be through our SNAP-Ed, FNEP, or in some cases, general nutrition programs. Please contact your local county extension agent to see if this is something that they provide. You can click on the University of Arkansas Cooperative Extension Service logo for more information. If you would like specific information on SNAP-Ed or FNEP, please click on the corresponding logos. Another option is to order curriculum materials. This information is provided in the Farm to Classroom Resources Word document attached on this Best Care course page. So pictured on this slide are curriculum and materials that we will go over in this section. Please click on the next button to begin reviewing the different curriculums. So you have Arkansas Foods. Arkansas Foods is a series of mini lessons, posters, newsletters, and tasting activities. The project was created in response to the need for more nutrition education resources in the cafeteria. This project provides 10 food features during the fall and spring. Each food feature will have the following corresponding materials listed on this slide. So it'll have a mini lesson, a poster, mini and full size. You have a tasting suggestion or recipe, tasting surveys for each student. There is a parent newsletter, window clings, and clip art. All right, so another one is Discover My Plate. So with Discover My Plate, there's going to be a teacher's guide, emergent reader books, food group friends, profile cards, and food cards. The Look and Cook recipes, you're going to have student workbook and parent handouts. So for more information about Discover My Plate, you would click there on the blue link on the slide. Or you could just do a quick Google search of Discover My Plate. So this is one that's been used numerous times, and I think it's a great resource. It's called Grow It, Try It, Like It. Based on the imaginary Tasty Acres farm, there are 7 booklets. Booklet 1 is the introduction, teaching guide, garden, art, and crafts, and tool shed resources, cool puppy pup DVD, and the supplemental materials CD. Booklets 2 through 7 are activities for 6 fruit and vegetable lessons. So again, you can click on the blue link and it'll take you directly to that curriculum, or you would do a quick Google search for Grow It, Try It, Like It. So the Great Garden Detective is another resource that's available that includes 11 lessons curriculum. There are bulletin board materials, veggie dice, fruits and vegetable flashcards, and then 10 issues of Garden Detective news for parents and caregivers. Again, for more information, click on the blue link or a quick Google search of this. The Great Garden Detective Adventure can help you find this curriculum. So another one is Dig In. This is 10 lesson curriculum. There's food safety mini posters. There's a gardening guide, 6 posters, and a Dig In at home booklet. For more information, you would click on the blue link or do a quick Google search. Color Me Healthy is the last resource that's listed. It has a teacher's guide. There's a 4-picture card set, 3 posters for the classroom, a music CD with original songs, a hand stamp to reward child participation, 14 parent newsletters that can be reused, and 2 parent posters. And if you wanted to order, you would click on the Color Me Healthy order form. So this is farm, field trips, and visitors. So you would want to find a farmer. So if you were going to come out to Simon Farm, that's the farm that my husband and I manage, or if you were going to go to a pumpkin patch. But if you're looking for a particular, item that you would like to take the kids to see, that would be rice, soybeans. If you want to go to a row crop farmer, if you want to go to like a pumpkin farmer or a vegetable farmer, that type of thing. So you're going to find a farmer, decide the who, what, when, where, and how. You want to plan with your farmer prior to the trip because you want to give them notice that you're coming and then give them advance to maybe clean up a little bit, get some staff available that morning to help. If it's, more than, if it's the farmer and he has family that are available, make sure you have plans for the day of the visit. Like you're going to arrive at this time, you're going to spend time with the farmer. He's going to talk about what he does, his product. That might include like a little trip with a tractor and a trailer. Are you going to be walking? And then will you eat lunch there and that type of thing. And then after the field trip, you want to decide, okay, so what resources are you going to share with the parents? Are you going to do some type of follow-up? Are you going to do some type of activity? So whenever you're planning these farm field trips and visitors, there's some things to consider. So if you want to do a farm themed classroom, this is pretty cool. I like this fruit and veggie of the month display. Broccoli's looking pretty awesome. I love what they've done with the hair. And then Brocco Man says, help me pick my healthy helpers. And this is just a cool way. I like how, that Brocco Man stands out. And then the other one is a garden display where, again, it looks like that, you don't have to use the actual product. You can make carrots. It looks like those might be turnips or blueberries. I'm not 100% sure. And then the yellow looks like squash. But what I love about this is that, you can talk about how we need sunlight for these plants to grow. And we also need rain. And rain is important to help our products, help this produce grow. So this has a lot in there about, the plant life cycle and then what is essential to it to help it grow. So you can also do a farm themed center, and that can be you can do a dramatic play area. I love the that chicken sitting on its eggs, sitting on its little nest, and then they've got a basket that collects the eggs. They've got an egg carton as well. You'll notice that on over here where you've got the carrots and everything, that's a sensory play that looks like a sensory bin. And then, during art and craft time, you might pull out the picture on the bottom left where you've got the milk cow. You want to flap like a chicken, gallop like a horse. But there's things that you can do that are farm themed center time. So you've got your dramatic play, your art and craft time, block and puzzles, sensory play, music and movement, and science and math can all be incorporated into that farm theme center time. So you might be looking to procure and fund this program. So you can, utilize the local procurement guidance for school meals programs in Arkansas. There's also USDA Farm to School Procurement Guide that has a list of rules and regulations that you would need to follow. And then funding. So funding farm to school fact sheet is also available. We can have these as a list of resources that's available on the Best Care course. There's different types of funding available. So you have your government funding, which is your federal, state, or county municipal. Foundations, that could be private, family, corporate, or community. There are alternative financial services and social impact investors, business sponsorships, and that could be your local or regional or national businesses. And then there's fundraising events if you wanted to do, something to get this program started. And for more information on that, on the procurement and funding, you can go to Arkansas Farm to School resource page. So you want to get the parents involved. So a way to do that is keep parents informed about what their children are learning during the day, promote continued growth at home through child and parent-centered activities and recipes. If you're talking about tomatoes during the summer, send home a recipe or some type of activity that they can do. Maybe it's a sensory activity where they get to touch, taste, smell, and eat a tomato. And then they describe with the parent what they're experiencing. You want to send home letters encouraging parents to bring the farm to home. When families prepare and eat foods together, young children are encouraged to try more foods. You want to let the parents know how much what the children enjoyed most about the farm to classroom portion, and then see if they would love to volunteer or donate to the garden. You'd be surprised at what some parents may do in regards to this, because they're going to have those memories, hopefully, from whenever they were younger and they helped their parents in the garden, or their grandparents. I can still remember shelling peas with my grandmother and shucking corn. And it was some of the best times I had with them. And so as a parent, if one of the teachers, approached me and was like, hey, I think this is a great opportunity, of course, I'd try to volunteer or donate some of my time or money or resources to teaching children about farm to classroom. So farm to classroom food safety. Preschoolers are susceptible to foodborne illnesses. We know that. Farm to classroom activities could mean consuming fresh and raw foods. So you want to follow these simple food safety tips to keep your preschooler healthy and safe. Wash hands often. Wash fruits and vegetables before eating. You want to avoid any unsafe foods. Consume prepared, unrefrigerated food within 2 hours. Prevent cross-contamination. So you don't want to use one knife or one spoon for something and cross-contaminate it with another item that could make a child sick. And then you also need to be aware, which you already are, I'm sure, of any known food allergies that child will have. You also want to be aware that some of these children may not be aware of a food allergy they have, so you want to, watch them as they consume this particular food for any type of reaction to the food. So if you have any, there's farm to classroom and special needs, there's things to consider there. When it comes to gardening, consider all of your senses. Adapt garden tools. You may not want to use big, bulky garden tools for little kids, and so trying to find some kid-friendly garden tools. Go vertical instead of horizontal. Have clear walkways, raised beds, and wider paths that are ADA accessible. Work with the farmer to ensure that activities are accessible. Prior to going out to that farm, again, you want to check with the farmer to see if there's anything that they should know about where they're going, where they're walking, and just make sure that activities are accessible. Work with parents to come up with a plan, and then make sure farm to classroom activities and curriculum are accessible to all children. So here are just some resources that are available. Obviously, the Cooperative Extension Service, you've got your Arkansas Farm to School, USDA Ag and Natural Resources, Natural Resource Conservation Services. You've got Arkansas Grown, Farm Bureau Insurance, the National Agriculture in the Classroom, any of your local cooperatives, that's going to be your hometown store, and then Farm Credit. So I want to take a moment to just recognize that we do have, Cooperative Extension Service, and there are 4 program areas. You've got 4-H and Youth Development, Ag and Natural Resources, Community and Economic Development, and then Family and Consumer Science. For more information about programs offered in your area, please contact your local county agent. So Arkansas Farm to School provides information and networking to schools interested in doing farm to school programs in the state of Arkansas. Here's some contact information. You're going to call 501-364-3390, and then they have a website, farmtoschool.org. USDA, the Community Food Systems portion of the USDA website, has more information on farm to school, and you can see it's listed here. There's a grant program, farm to school planning toolkit, state contracts, there's a video, training, and webinars. And then farm to school programs can be a great way to bring the community together. So that could be your Department of Health, Department of Human Services. If there's other volunteer organizations and clubs, I think about Kiwanis would be someone that maybe you could approach as a resource. You're going to have Game and Fish, Arkansas Forestry Services, and then again, local businesses, insurance agencies, and banks. And whenever you do approach them about any collaboration with Farm to School, you want to try to prepare an information packet that has that who, what, when, where information in there. So that way they have that information on the front end, because they will ask for that information. Again, I want to thank you for participating in Farm to Classroom with Best Care. If you have any questions, please refer to your local county cooperative extension service.